Most attractive magicians. I know, when you see those two words together, you think there's no way that you could be an attractive magician. It's impossible. Those words go well together like peanut butter and horse cum. It just doesn't seem to mesh. But today, what I thought is that I'd give you a look as to the top 8 most attractive magicians. Now, I do have a couple rules here. I'm going for people that aren't necessarily historically hot. It'd be a very easy thing for me to put a list with people like David Copperfield in 1990 when he was a stud, when he had that John Stamos hair and he was running through women like Tic Tacs. Or Cyril Takayama from 10 years ago when he was young and had a hot Asian look to him. Also, another rule is no women. I'd include women in this list for the simple reason that we have eyeballs. It's very easy to determine whether or not a female magician is very attractive. And I didn't want to have emails sent to my inbox about, oh, you're just a sexist, racist pig. You're pointing out women. You're a misogynist, telling me that we're more than just objects, pig cake. I never said you guys were just objects. All I said is that you guys have daddy issues. So that being said, I thought I'd take a look at the most attractive magicians here. And the first one on the list is Jim Pace. Jim Pace, I wouldn't say is the type of individual that you would associate typically with attractiveness, but there's a charm there. He's best known for coming up with fire wallets and other concoctions that make fires appear from your hand. And you see that there's a nice salt and pepper look there. For some reason, I couldn't find any pictures of Jim Pace online apart from this one where he doesn't look too happy. I wanted to find some pictures of him looking happy in 2021, but I couldn't find any. And he's the first person on this list for good reason. You see a guy like this and he has that kind of old Matthew McConaughey look where you go, yeah, that guy's old, but he probably smashes a lot of women. The next one here is Jan Reuven, also known as Jan Raven, maybe from what I've looked. He's a Las Vegas based magician, and here he is looking as charming as possible. You have a little bit of the flavor savor, if you would, there. As you can see, he's a little bit of a charming looking individual, someone that you would definitely like to hire for your birthday parties, and the type of cool guy. You could see that he has a kind of a funky collar. He has, again, that Creed from 1997 sort of beard that was popular for some reason. It's a very, very refined individual we have here in Jan Reuven. Again, can't find much of him in 2021. Kind of odd there, but this is a picture from I believe 2014. Still accurate enough. You can't imagine a guy changing much from 2014 all the way to 2021, but that's how he looks like. That's how he looks like. Very attractive. Some people might not like that European look, but I dig it. It gives you some characteristics to your face. It gives you some nice features that you wouldn't otherwise find in us dirty Americans. The next one is Kevin Pengram. He looks a little bit disheveled in this picture, but again, it's a charming classic look. You could see him in a 1920s sort of aesthetic with his hair parted to the side over a fireplace reading a book. Doesn't look too happy to be in this picture, but you know how we get, right? When our significant others tell you, hey, smile for the picture, and you really don't want to take a picture. So I guess this just looks like his significant other was taking a picture of him and he didn't really want to take one. He's got a weird facial structure, but I find it kind of endearing, you know? I would say that it's reminiscent of, again, a classic 1920s look. Kind of weird that I found him attached to this picture of what looks like to be a restaurant called Mario's Pizza. A little bit odd that you would have those two pictures next to each other, but I guess he just likes pizza. He's a nice, good old average American man who doesn't like pizza. And you could see here that he's a very attractive man. If he just would smile a little bit more in that picture, I don't know why he decided to take that picture with that scowl. But if he would smile, he would be a very attractive man. Here's another one, Howard Scott, the balloon master. He's the balloon master. He's a great balloon magician. And here he is. For some reason, I don't know why magicians tend to favor a gray background when it comes to pictures. And I don't know if orange is in 2021, but here he is in all his glory. He looks a little bit startled. I think whoever took this picture jumped the gun on him, you know, kind of scared him and said, hey, haha, you know, like a little fun prank. But here he is. He has a wide-eyed look here. Kind of an interesting aesthetic. Again, with the salt and pepper, very reminiscent of Jim Pace here. And he just looks like an interesting guy. He looks like a fun dude to hang around with. Again, not classically attractive, not the Copperfield attractive, but more of a rugged sort of a blue-collar attractiveness on this individual. I don't know if you guys have ever played with balloons or tried to roll them into different animals and shapes, but it's fairly complicated. So this guy has to be really good with his fingers, which is good for the ladies. Ladies really like that. And Howard Scott is definitely another example of that. The next one here is Mark Davis. Mark Davis, you could see him there. On the left, you would have a nice sort of Borat aesthetic to him. Looks like one of my cousins, to be honest. And to the right is him a little bit older, but still a kind of classic, attractive look on this individual. Again, with the weird gray background. I don't get why that seems to be an aesthetic among magicians. But Mark Davis, as you could see, he's a tremendous looking, fun guy. Looks like the type of guy that is really the life of the party. You know, you would bring him along to whatever party you want, and he's going to be the light of it. So if you're a woman and you're like, hey, here's my husband, Mark Davis, they're going to go, whoa, dude, that guy's cool. He pulled a quarter out of that kid's ear over there. He's hanging around the kids' table a lot. And, he's just an entertainer, an all-around entertainer here. And he has kind of little sassy quality to him, especially if you look at that picture of him to the right. But I don't know why all these pictures that I seem to have found for these magicians, they tend not to smile. I think that's a thing that magicians have. It's just an aesthetic, I guess. Back in the 90s, you would have people take pictures like this, kind of like a cool vibe to him. I guess that's the sort of thing that magicians seem to be going for, all these attractive magicians. But what a cool guy. I wish I could grow my mustache like that. I tried to once, but it doesn't look as cool as how Mark Davis pulls it. The next one here is Dan the Magic Man. Dan the Magic Man. You see him there with the dove. Kind of cool, right? He has a kind of like a Louis C.K. vibe to him. And Louis C.K. is a very popular comedian. As you see, he's got into a little trouble not so long ago because he decided to masturbate in front of other comedians with consent. And this guy has a little bit of that aesthetic to him, that kind of quality. Kind of a horseshoe haircut, but it's fine. He rocks it. And he's a very well-presented individual. You could tell. Good tailoring in a suit, good contrast of colors, and he has a dove there. Dan the Magic Man, kind of an interesting way to take your name, right? If your name's Daniel, you could then kind of turn that into Dan the Magic Man. So it's a rhyme. It's a rhyme. Imagine taking this guy to like a Denny's and he just makes like a dove appear out of nowhere. Cool things like that is what you would get with a guy like this. And he's a fairly conventional, attractive man. Again, the classic rugged blue collar look. He looks like the type of guy to be a great babysitter. You'd leave and by the time you came back, the kids would have learned something that they didn't know before, experienced things that they wouldn't have previously, and he would have shown them some tricks, some tricks of the trade, if you would. So Dan the Magic Man definitely deserves to be on this list of most attractive magicians. The next magician here is Shane Wright. Shane Wright, again, gray background. I don't get it. That scowl, really kind of a weird thing. It seems to be a trend among these magicians. I really wish that I would find like a happier looking individual, but look at him. Classic, long hair, looks like a rock star. Looks like a classic rock star from the 70s, that would have groupies. And, he would party with the groupies because of how popular he was. And that's how Shane Wright looks like. Very defined jaw, thick lips, I would say. Nice bottom lip, very plump. And he looks like a cool guy. He looks like a cool guy that he would make fire appear and doves appear from sparks, things like that. So he definitely deserves to be on this list. Just look at him. He's the classic image of what a man looks like. A really good, rugged, just strong. Imagine him wearing Timberlands and flannel, right? You could see him just dropping an axe on blocks of wood. He looks like the type of guy to be on stage, like I said earlier, like a rock star. But for some reason, he decided to just stick to kids' shows. Kind of odd. Really a waste of his good looks, I would say. Next one here is Magic Jeff. Magic Jeff just looks like a little bit disheveled here, but he has a nice polo. He has kind of that classic Italian look. Again, I keep saying classic because a lot of these individuals are classically attractive. You could see him swinging up to base, in a 1950s baseball game. Very nice, clean-shaven individual, right? Again, looks like a Babe Ruth sort of type here. Magic Jeff. That gray background really throwing me off with these magicians. As you can see, I have a little bit of a different background. I have a colorful one, the Miami skyline, right? It's nice, it's vibrant, there's some purple in there. For some reason, all these magicians tend to use gray backgrounds. Should I change my background to gray? Is that the trend? Let me know in the comments section if that's the trend among magicians now. And the last one here is Mr. Whiz. Mr. Whiz, what a fun looking guy. And here's the thing, here's my progressive views at play because Typically, you might think, oh, I'm just looking for, skinny, attractive, buff guys. But no, this guy has, I would say, a fairly rotund body type. He doesn't look like the individual that would work out or hit the gym. And this, again, just shows how progressive I am, that people like this should be accepted as well into a list of attractive men or attractive magicians. You could see from the bottom, he's a happy go lucky guy. You could see him with the balloons. He's kind of fun. He's quirky. Look at this fun picture with what looks like to be a walkie talkie or phone. Funny enough, he's a big texter. He likes to text a lot of people. So he's up to date with technology, Mr. Whiz is. And he's wearing some sort of bike helmet in that left picture, a construction worker helmet. Shows you that really, I'm really tired of the stereotype of the fit individual being on these attractive lists. It's time to be progressive as to how it is that you decide to rate people in terms of their attractiveness. Every body type is beautiful. And Mr. Wiz is a perfect example of that. And he's the last person on our list of most attractive magicians. If you have a magician that I missed, make sure to leave him in the description section below. And maybe we could have a back and forth as to what constitutes attractiveness in magicians. Make sure to subscribe if you guys like this sort of content. And I hope to see you on the next video. Maybe you should consider, I don't know, reaching out to your family or something.